because these are very important. So what I'm going to do, we're going to do flexion extension first. I'm going to bring my fulcrum to the external auditory meatus, aka the ear hole. Okay, I'm going to have him look down for me, as far down as you can look. My vertical axis is straight up and down, and my other axis is going to point right at the tip of his nose. Okay, he's got about 23 degrees there. Okay, let's go ahead. That's bad.
I guess I was just doing upper. I guess I could
Yeah.
do more, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so he was just doing upper cervical. Like if he gets all the way down to lower, he uses everything. It's 52 degrees, that's a little bit better. Like, whoa, holy moly, we need to work on that.
I think it's a tie. The tie was in the way.
The bow tie, yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead and extend backwards. Same thing, external auditory meatus, vertical line, tip of nose, 72. That's really good. All right. Now we're gonna do side bending. So I get behind him. I go to C7 vertebrae. I line that up with my fulcrum, line up with the head, and the rest of this arm here is going to be lined up with the spinous processes. Okay. I want you to bring your right ear to your right shoulder, so side bend or lateral flexion. And I just line up with his head bend. He's got about 21 degrees there. Let's go to the left. And he has about 18 degrees there. Makes sense? For rotation, I have to get an aerial view and I'm pretty short. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna line this up at the top of his head, a chromium process here with this one. I want you to rotate to the right as far right as you can go. And then I go to the tip of his nose to line that up.
Which one is one for?
Rotation, right rotation. He's at 60 degrees. And you gotta read the red numbers when you do this one. Red numbers, okay? So that's the numbers on the top there, okay? Let's go to the right or the left. Line it up with the chromium process here, top of the head. And he's got about 58 degrees there, okay?
So can I say something?
Yeah.
So one thing I noticed with the rotation, it can change. Make sure they're in the best posture as possible. So if I'm like this, I'm gonna have less range of motion, right? Because I'm locking out my lower cervical, and so make sure they're sitting up well. Okay.
Lumbar. Let's go ahead and stand up. Now you're gonna see different things, like there's some books that show using an inclinometer, which is just a level that you put on somebody's back, and he would bend forward then, and the level would go right here, and it would take the measurement for you. It would kind of like a bubble, like a level, you know, that has a little bit of a bubble. It'll move and give you the degrees of motion. We don't have any of those here today. Okay. I'm going to show you an alternative method, which is not widely used, but I like to use. I want you to go ahead and bend forward for me, keeping your knees straight. I go to the top of the iliac crest, midline of the body, and then I try to line up with the greater trochanter there. And he's got about 105 degrees rather, of trunk flexion, lumbar flexion. Okay, next we're gonna do extension. Go ahead and pull your arms across your chest. Go ahead and bend your knees. That's not back extension. That's okay, so he's getting some hip flexion there. So we want to keep his knees straight. Same thing, iliac crest, greater trochanter, and midline of the body. He's got about 35 degrees of lumbar extension. Next is side bending. I go to the sacrum. Okay, I line it up with this C7 vertebrae up there. I want him to go ahead and reach towards the right side of your body, towards the floor as far as he can go, to the side. No, don't go forward. Just to the side. Thank you. And I'm going to line everything up. Make sure we're straight there. 15 degrees to the right. Go to the left for me. So left side bending or lateral flexion. And he's got 21 degrees there. Now some people don't like to use the goniometer. Go ahead and lean to the left again for me. Some people like to go from his index finger and take the measurement with a tape measure from down to the floor. Some people like to do it that way. So you'll see some various different measurements there. Go ahead and take a seat for me on the table again. For rotation, go ahead and put your arms across your chest. And so I line everything up, again in chromium processes, but both arms are going to start there. I want you to go ahead and rotate to the right as far right as you can rotate. So I keep that vertical line there, and I follow the chromium process with one, and he's got about 62 degrees to the right. Again, reading the right numbers there. Go to the left for me. This will be 45 degrees there. So when you're reading these actually switch to red numbers, but when you do cervical rotation, and you start out like this, you have to read the red numbers. So if you start out like this, you have to read the red numbers. Depending on what goniology you have, those numbers on the top. Go ahead and do a rotation to the left again. If it is like this, and I start out like this, I have to read the black numbers, okay? So remember, if you start at a right degree, a 90-degree angle, red numbers. Start out like this, black numbers, okay? I'll come around if you need me to point that out, because some of the goniology is a little bit different. Cool, guys? So I want you to take those measurements today. Cool? Okay, that's everything.